What's up, guys? It's Anton and Mike from Love is Blind, and we're here today answering some questions. I know you guys have a ton of questions for us, and we want to take some time out of our day to talk about that, talk about some of the most commonly asked questions.
Yeah, now that the show wraps, we're going to drop some knowledge on you guys and give you a little bit behind the scenes. So let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Q&A.
So I think the first one was, do you still want to get married? How soon?
Yeah.
How has Love is Blind impacted that, that decision?
Yeah. So for me personally, I do still want to get married. I think going on the experience and sort of seeing day-to-day life and what that would look like being married, I think I still absolutely want to get married, but there's no pressure. There's no timeline that I have to follow. I don't like being put under a pressure or a timeline, and I think you want to take as much time as you really need to.
Yeah, now you're on your own clock, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're not on the clock of Netflix anymore.
Yeah,
you're on your
for
own
sure.
clock. Yeah.
I think for me, I always wanted to get married. I envisioned that for myself, but I was basically taking my time. And so going through the process and through the experience, it sped that up for me.
Yeah.
And put it top of mind, put front and center. And going through the motions, not necessarily the motion, but going through that process, it became more realistic for me and achievable. I think it was a mental roadblock I was working through.
Okay.
And so now as I'm dating today, that's top of mind, that's front and center. And I'm much more open-minded to it now than I was before I went through the experience, before I kind of almost went through that trial run. So I'm thankful for the experience. I think it was good for me. It's great that we're on our own timelines now. Yeah. We're not necessarily rushed, and we don't have to have like, oh, this is proposal day. This is go to the altar day kind of deal. And you can take your own time. But for me, it's made me think about it, keep it top of mind, and it's sped up my process I'm executing in today.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I think what a lot of people don't understand too is that edit aspect of it, where me and Allie's edit was basically we got married on the first day, or it looked like it was on the first day, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Everyone was
right?
like, damn, they got married quick in one day.
Yeah, no, that couldn't be further from the truth, right? Like
there
are 10 days, well engaged, So there is 10 days that you're in the pods, and engagement day is day 10. And that is when I proposed to Allie, is on day 10.
Yeah, so you're actually not allowed to propose until day 10.
You're not supposed to. I mean, you can, but it's highly frowned upon, and you really shouldn't be proposed.
Yeah. And you want to take all the time you have, right? If you have 10 days to get to know someone and make that decision, you want to take the full 10 days because it's a big deal to propose.
And see, like for me, what was the most meaningful thing for me during that experience is just taking all the time that I can within that short span of time to get to know this person behind a wall without ever seeing them. And I had two connections that went all the way to engagement day, and one of the main things that I was struggling with is to decide on which one to propose to, which one felt right, but Allie felt right. It felt like the right thing, and I can definitely say that, and this is another question that I've gotten is, hey, did you really love her? Did you really fall in love in the pods? And being in that environment and like spending so much time one-on-one with each other without your phone, without any distractions, I think can really speed up the process to the point where, you can definitely fall in love.
Yeah, I think that was huge. I get the same question, like, is it real? How do you, fall in love that quickly? How do you get to know someone that fast? And when you don't have to go to work, you're not on your cell phone at all. You have no distractions. You're just there in the zone, trying to date, trying to get engaged. You put all your energy and effort into that. Yeah. And we're there for hours on end, right? I think we were there to like super late at night some days, right?
14-hour days. Day, And so I think it's isn't that cool though? Isn't that crazy? I mean, like how unique of a dating experience that is, just in general, how different it is from any other mode of dating.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just talking through all that, you learn a lot about yourself. You uncover things that you haven't talked about before, right? And what I like to tell people or friends that ask about the experience, I basically say, like, imagine that you're single for 2 years and you go on dates throughout that 2-year period. Then you take all of that and you compact it down to 10 days. That's how much you learn about yourself. That's how many dates you go on. That's how many hours you spend talking to people and meeting people. And so I think that's why the process works. And people do get married from the show because it is all condensed down and it's super intentional.
It's just our season of fucking train wreck.
Yeah. We fucked it up for Love is Blind, but our bad. So you mentioned you had some other connections in there. Who was your number 2 and 3, and why didn't you go with them?
Yeah, so on day one, Allie was my number one, and as the days went on in the pods,
Yeah.
there were days where so my other connection was Kaylin, okay, and there were days where Kaylin would be my number one for that day, and then Allie would be my number two, and then there was other days where Allie jumped back to the top of the list. It was kind of back and forth in that sense, and I was really taking my time to get to know both of them, to get to see what the compatibility would be like with Kaylin, what the compatibility would be like with Allie, and
Yeah, speaking of Kaylin, no one knows who Kaylin is because she didn't get a ton of airtime, but I also
right.
dated Kaylin as well.
Did you?
And I actually really liked her in the
Yeah.
pods. And
No, she's a great gal.
I think she decided we didn't, for whatever reason, we stopped dating each
Yeah.
other, not by my choice.
Yeah.
And it was actually super surprising to see her in person. I thought, and I'm stereotyping here potentially, but I thought she was like a yoga teacher from Boulder, very granola,
Yeah.
based on her voice.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have been more wrong about her.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was, I mean, so with me and her, it was, it kind of felt as though there were other limiting factors within our potential relationship. Hey, she lives in Colorado Springs, I live in Denver, we live
Yeah.
about 2 hours from each other. She wasn't, I don't think, fully on board with moving somewhere else. And
But she just moved to Chicago.
yeah, I know, that's crazy. But look, I'm happy with the decision that I made, with the choices I made, and I think ultimately you got to just trust your heart. It may not make sense, but on engagement day when I decided to propose to Allie, I think it just felt right. That felt like the right connection, and that's it. And I just decided to go that.
Yeah,
way.
those last couple of dates are critical, right? I mean, if you hit it off during that date, or you hit a speed bump, that can totally change the game for you.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the nature of the beast and how the process works.
Yeah.
On my side, this wasn't shown at all. People do know who Casey is, and her and Patrick were dating, and made it to reveal day.
Yeah, Casey.
But Casey was my number 2, and I dated her basically up until the end.
Oh man.
And
how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
It's I think to summarize it, or I guess after seeing her in person, Casey's the type of girl that if I saw her out, maybe at a bar, I would be like, okay, like she's my type physically.
Yeah.
And I think she's attractive. I would probably go up to her and talk to her. And if we started dating, I probably would have justified staying in that relationship because I was physically attracted to her.
Yeah.
But because I met her in the pods and I got to know her on a deeper level, I realized that there was someone else out there that was a better match for me, right? And so the pods almost helped me maybe not get into a relationship where I wasn't super compatible with the person, and I was just basing that decision off of physical looks, right?
Of course.
But Casey and I also had a lot in common. Like I think she's a great person. She's had a great upbringing, and the experience was tough for all of us. And no one can write a script about or tell you how you should behave in this scenario, right?
That's understandable.
I think maybe Casey's been getting a little bit of heat for this, but there's no scenario or script on how you should react when you see that person for the first time you've been dating in the pods, and maybe you're not physically attracted to them, or maybe there's something that's throwing you off about that. And so I think that she still handled it well, in my opinion, because there's no good way to handle that.
Yeah, I think it's just being the main thing is, I think, just being honest and communicating with your partner about what it is, or what the limiting factor is for her, and so look, I wasn't in that relationship, I don't know, but I think just being honest, like, hey, I don't think I can get to that point, attraction wise, or whatever it is.
Could have been more communication for sure, but it's probably also tough to communicate when you're in that scenario.
Yeah, I think attraction is an important thing, and like attraction is, like, men are obviously very
it's a big decision maker for us.
And so I think that's normal, but I think you have to sort of lean into the experience, all in, and it's like you've got to remember why you fell in love with this person. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Just lean on that as well. What about that truck driver scene from the show? You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, watching that it was disappointing. I think so like I'm a blue collar guy, very blue collar guy. And I think watching that, I had no idea about that conversation, obviously, until the show came out, until I was able to see it in real time. And I was like, man, it's disappointing to hear that because it's like there are a lot of really hardworking blue collar people out there that don't get enough appreciation as it is for what they do, let alone, that for that to be something to be talked down upon in the way it was.
Yeah,
so.
For sure.
Her friends are, I think, like I said, I don't think it wasn't Allie. I mean, I don't think she said anything that was concerning, but her friends definitely, I think, were
a little bit harsh with that one.
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
I think also the viewers got, the typical. I think in that scenario, she got the edit. We're all a lot of people in the cast saying, "Oh, like we got a bad edit. This was left out. It's pulled out of context." So. She could have got a bad edit on that one as well, and they chopped it up to get an emotion out of people, right?
Yeah.
And funny story, I actually went on a date with her as well before the show.
With Daria?
With Daria, yeah. So,
how did that go? What was your impression of her?
No, she was cool. I mean, we only went on one date, so it's hard to really understand like who she is from that one date. I think there wasn't a ton of chemistry.
Okay.
I think there was a slight language barrier. But for the most part, I had a good experience on that date. Just didn't really go anywhere.
Did she ask you if you were a truck driver?
She asked me before we went on the date if I was a truck driver. She screened me out on that. I passed that one.
Tracks.
She asked me what kind of car I drove, how much money I had in my bank account, and if I had a trust.
Oh wow!
With a bunch of money in it.
Wow.
So that's why I got to go on the date. No, I'm only kidding. I'm sure she's great. She just got a slightly poor edit on that one. And she's just looking out for her friends too. But at the end, I don't agree with how she was saying it. But it definitely got a rise out of some people for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm on. I got your back on that one too.
Yeah.
I think there's another one if you want to go back to like pods. Someone asked me. When I did my Q&A, was it hard to overcome the breakups in the pods and move on from that? I guess in your case, it was at the altar.
Yeah. So I think it even in the pods. I mean, look, like I said, I had 2 connections in the pods that led all the way to engagement day. So with Kaylin, it was definitely crazy, man, because I had to go break up with Kaylin. Right? She was my first date that day.
Yeah.
On proposal day, and I did not propose with her. I broke up with her. It was sad, and I had like all those emotions running through me, right? And then after that, immediately after, my next date was Allie, and I had to go in there and propose. So it was a whirlwind.
That's wild.
Of emotions, yeah.
In what world do you have to break up with your other girlfriend and propose to your main girlfriend on the same day?
Yeah, tough, man, tough. Don't envy that position. I wouldn't want to put anybody in that position. So. But I think at the altar, it was definitely very disappointing and heartbreaking to hear that no.
Yeah.
And there's just, I think afterwards there's just so much going through your head. It's like, how could I have done this differently, or how would have like me not doing this or not saying that would have changed this. But looking back at it, I'm glad everything went the way it did. I have no regrets. I think everything played out as it should have. I met a great gal since, and so I think it was God's plan in that sense that everything played out the way it should have, and
for sure,
her saying no, was the right thing ultimately.
Yeah, tough scenario, but everything kind of worked out in the end.
Exactly, sure did.
You got an amazing girlfriend today.
I do. Yeah, she's
can't
great.
Complain. Yeah.
So
I think on my side, what was tough for me mentally was I had actually never met this person in real life yet, right? So I think in my mind, we had a super strong connection. I had no idea what she looked like. I actually, for some reason, I thought she was a brunette, and that wasn't the case.
Really?
So that threw me off big time when I
Yeah.
actually saw her for the first time.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like I just like never got a full chance because in every other relationship I've been in, I have got to meet that person face to
Sure.
face and actually do life with them. So kind of behind a wall, you're definitely limited. And I would say like verbal affirmation is not one of my skills.
Yeah.
It's definitely not my love language, or at least how I like to give love. And so I feel like I was kind of holding back for the most part, and definitely not the guy to love bomb someone or go too hard too fast. And dating Casey throughout this entire thing definitely threw me off. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to put my eggs in both baskets, and as you're going through the experiment, they definitely encourage you to see your connections through. And I understand that because you want to give people chances.
Of course.
You want to really make sure this person's not a good match for you before you break up with them.
Yeah.
I think, one of the things we saw at the beginning is like some of these younger guys in the pods, some of the guys who were 26, they were just breaking up with girls left and right because they didn't have the same favorite color, just like things that didn't matter. And so I really wanted to see through the process. And so I was dating Casey and Megan right through the end. And that pulled my attention from Megan as I was dating Casey.
Yeah.
And that was one of my biggest regrets is like, I wish I would have went all in with Megan because I knew that Casey and I wasn't going to go anywhere. Yeah, exactly. But I wanted to continue to get to know her, give her, that chance. This is a little behind the scenes thing that
Give it to
happened.
me, man.
We were actually having a breakfast, and I like leaned over to Patrick and said, "Hey," because I knew him and I were both dating her, and he was really, really into her.
Yeah.
I leaned over to Patrick and basically said, "Hey, man, like, don't worry about me and Casey. Like, that's not going to go anywhere."
Wow.
And so I just wanted to give him a heads up and say, "Hey, man, like, don't worry about me. Don't let it throw you off.
Yeah.
Go all in and just like be yourself." Because once I found out Jordan and I were both dating Megan, like that definitely got into my head. I was like, "Oh shit, now I know who she's dating," and it was kind of psyching me out.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of one of the flaws I would say with the experiment is that, you are kind of amongst the other guys. And I think the drawback to that is that it starts to get into your head and you start kind of playing that guessing game. Like, well, who's her other connection?
Yeah.
Is she talking to my friend? Is she talking to this guy or whatever? And I think that can really kind of get into your head and maybe even change how you approach your relationship, which I don't think is good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Jordan's a great guy by all means, and we've built a friendship since then.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was just in my head because I was dating someone who was not only dating someone else, but I knew who that person was, and so that was tough for me. But to get back to the answer to your question, that was tough because I felt like I didn't go all in. I felt like I didn't get that, that chance to make it to that in-person connection and build that attraction in real life, right? And so I feel like I left with a few regrets, but at the same time, it is what it is, and everything worked out for the better.
So when Megan talked about at the reunion that you went on a couple dates with her, like how did that play out? How was that trip, and how did that look like?
Yeah, I think when you come out of the pods and into real life, or even after they're done filming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you start meeting people in real life. I don't want to say it's like incestual, but it's like you have a group of guys and a group of girls, and everyone's dating everyone's girlfriends. It's the weirdest thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
Girlfriends and boyfriends. And so I wasn't really sure what was acceptable or not. But basically what happened was Megan, I was not reaching out to Megan. I think I came off a little bit arrogant on the show, basically saying, they had me on camera, basically saying like, "Hey, I was going to reach out to you, but I didn't," kind of thing. And that was more so me telling her like, "Hey, yeah, I thought about you, but there was no way I was going to reach out to you or try to."
Yeah, I mean, that was the person you were like all in on, right?
Yeah.
In the pods.
Yeah, and I was not going to reach out to her first, and I did not ever plan on doing that.
But you were thinking about her.
Yeah, of course, right? Because you just went through this, like,
Yeah.
I got to know her. I felt like we were super close, and it's hard to just forget,
Of course.
even if she's engaged to someone else. And so I did hear that her and Jordan broke things off, and even then I was not going to reach out to her. I was definitely going to give her the time because she was engaged, and she just called off her wedding, right?
Yeah.
And so in the normal circumstances, you wouldn't reach out to that person. She ended up reaching out to me on Instagram, and once she did, I felt like I wanted closure from that.
Sure.
So I was like, hey, let's meet up. And the first time was super casual. I actually met some of her friends, and it was kind of a group setting, and then we went on a date. So, and I think we just realized, like, I think we both just realized there wasn't a ton of chemistry there, and I think timing is everything. Once we're out of the pods, she was no longer. She just called off her engagement. I was
Yeah.
starting to see other people. We just both weren't in a good place, and
Sure.
that chemistry had been lost through that timing, I believe.
Yeah.
I think maybe in a different world or a different lifetime,
Yeah.
if the timing was right, maybe it could work out. But we just didn't have
Boy,
that
you're
chemistry.
still grieving. Yeah, I mean, she's still grieving a relationship, right? And it's like I was feeling the same way when I got back to Denver after filming. I was still, getting over Allie and getting closure and grieving that relationship. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to lean into pursuing a connection with Kaylin or pursuing a connection with anybody else from the pods.
Yeah,
At that point in time, right there.
for sure. That's where I was at too. I think when you guys were still filming, we all met up in Cherry Creek,
Yeah.
and I saw a few other girls I was dating, like Hillary, Kaylin, like we mentioned, Annie, the other Annie, which people don't necessarily know about,
Sure.
the one that called me a damn playboy.
Anastasia.
Yeah, thanks for that, Annie. But even then, I was like, it was very tempting to potentially like get some closure or see where that would go.
Mhm.
But in the real world, at least for me, it was really difficult to say, hey, I'm going to go on a date with this person while I'm still thinking about this person.
Yeah. I felt the same way, man.
Let's get a little bit deeper here and talk about what really matters. So, what's your favorite strip club?
Drum roll. Shotgun Willie's in Denver, man. They got some of the best steaks and wings you can get. All right. And hey, yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people go to a strip club for food. Like, they have some of the best food you can get out there.
Yeah, that's
really good steak. Yeah, good wings. That's really the only reason I go to a strip club. Like, why else would you go?
I mean, I'm going to be honest here and say I've never had food at a strip club before, so I'm going for other reasons.
It's a controversial topic, all right? It's a controversial topic, but try it.
Do you have to pay?
Until you try it.
Do you get to pay in ones, or like how does that work?
I think they take credit card better.
So they take credit card at the tables, but not at the poles.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I've never gone to the poles. Look, I just stay at the table, I eat my steak, and go home.
And you're out of there, right?
That's it,
yeah, no lap dances. Part of that equation.
What? Yeah,
never.
Lap dances, no.
Never. Something that's been top of mind for me throughout this process. I think a lot of people think like this is super easy. It's all fun and games. Like you have to go on Love Is Blind and
What?
be an influencer, right? But I feel like it's been a tough process. Even if whether you got a good edit, bad edit, somewhere in the middle, I feel like it's been tough for everyone to an extent. And there's been a lot of growth as well. I think that's the key for me is how are you growing through the process? How are you becoming a better person? How are you learning from it? I've definitely had some scenarios where I had to learn on the fly. How's that been for you?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of growth that takes place, and it's caused me to really think about how I carry myself in a relationship and how I approach my relationships. And I think being intentional is very important, and it's taught me to really lean in fully and compromise and really understand your partner and really see what is important to them and put them first ahead of you in a relationship, right? Because if your partner is putting you ahead of themselves and you're putting them ahead of yourselves, I think that's kind of the only way that you can make a relationship work long term, especially a marriage, right?
For sure.
Marriage.
And I think you experienced that with your relationship with Allie. There's maybe some scenarios where maybe you were putting her first or vice versa, and that wasn't reciprocated, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like some scenes where I think it was like, hey, my priorities trump yours, or vice versa. But I think it's all relative to the bigger conversation that was had. That maybe maybe it was clipped out.
Yeah, for sure. What was the I'd have to agree with you on that one. I think as you're dating in the pods and you're asking every single question under the sun. You really get to know the other person, and you're able to be present and put that other person first throughout that process. I think for me, I'm a victim of this. As I'm busy with work or friends or, commitments and responsibilities, I tend to fall back into bad habits where I'm not necessarily prioritizing the other person and or the relationship. Days go by where you're not keeping it top of mind. So one thing for me that I think is super important in relationships is like have a weekly date night or a scenario where you're going to, put your phones down,
That's so
not
important.
think about work, and
That's so important.
be intentional with the other person.
That's so important. Yeah. And it's like, there were times where I was still working during filming and I would come home and I'm so tired. Like, I'm just like, hey, hi, just have breakfast and go to bed. And it's like, that's fine. But if you're doing that every day, there's a wall that's being built between the two of y'all.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of good learning experiences.
Yeah.
So what's the
I think for me, just to wrap that up, I think for me, the main learning experience was love is not enough, dude. Love is not enough. It's got to be compatibility as well.
Yeah.
Compatibility, right? Compatibility and love go hand in hand for marriage. I think love itself is just not enough to go through a marriage. You have to be compatible and in all the right ways.
Yep.
And I think this experience really taught me that just love alone is not enough, I think, to go through a successful marriage.
Yeah, for sure. It'll get you, over the short run, it can definitely be enough. But once you get past that honeymoon phase, it's definitely not enough.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people saw that on our season. I don't want to say like, hey, Denver totally fucked it up for Love is Blind. But I think it also showed the world that it's really hard to balance that and to bring that compatibility and that love together and actually get into a scenario where you're married in a very short period of time.
Right. It's like you fall in love, but after you fall in love in the pods, then you're back in the real world and you're seeing whether you're compatible or not. And like, it has to be both. It can't be one without the other.
So as we're going through the process and we're starting to get a bunch of followers and messages on Instagram, there's definitely some hate mail out there. Like, what's the most fucked up thing someone said to you online?
Yeah, I think for sure the nose comments have been diabolical. Yeah, somebody just commented like 3 big nose emojis under one of my posts.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Man. That's a hit to the ego for sure.
Yeah, long nose, long hose. That's all I gotta say.
What else? Any other zingers in there?
Trying to think of what else we had.
I think Instagram shadow banned you in a sense for having Russian in your name as well.
Yeah. No, I've gotten a lot of hate for being Russian, which was like, sorry about it, but that's the way I was born.
Sorry, I was born Russian.
Sorry, I'm like Russian. What? Like, what do you want me to say to that?
And it goes to show, like, people are going to hate on you no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you just got to tune out all the haters. And I think, the hate's going to come no matter what you say. So it's like, who cares? Just stay true to yourself, stay authentic, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure.
What has been the most brutal message you've gotten on Instagram?
Man, I think I got one that said like kill yourself or you're a piece of shit, all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Many variations of you're a shitty person kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Netflix did me a little dirty on the edit. Not gonna lie. To their credit, they're trying to tell a story. They're trying to create a show. They're trying to get views. And I was going up against a single dad, so they took whatever they could with me and gave me that edit to create that competition between Jordan and I. And so I felt like I didn't give them a whole lot of work to work with, but they were able to tweak it enough where people thought I was the villain when it came to myself and Jordan. And so I think that was definitely a big part of it. They used the clip when Annie called me a playboy in the girls' lounge.
I like that actually.
And so
Playboy Mike.
Yeah, I got a lot of a little backlash for that. People calling me a player and not being authentic, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't changed your Instagram handle to Playboy Mike yet. I was waiting on that. I was excited. I'm like, is he gonna do it?
Yeah, I also said a couple other things that didn't come off very well. And what I want to say about those is when you're in there talking about everything under the sun, everyone said stupid things. Like everyone said things that if the viewers saw, they would think they're a terrible person. But when I said those things just actually got utilized to tell the story between Jordan and I and create that competition.
Hey man, don't put that on me. I knew what the difference is between type 1 and type 2
Right?
diabetes, all right?
Man. Yeah, I definitely got a ton of hate for that one too. And, I definitely feel bad for people that felt like I was, coming at that or trying to come at Jordan for being a bad dad. And that definitely wasn't my intention. I was in there trying to understand, what the scenario was, why that had happened, because as far as I knew, there was only one type of diabetes. I've been fortunate enough in my life that no one close to me has been impacted besides that one friend of mine that I was referencing who changed his diet and was able to beat it more or less.
I think there was also, like, looking at your relationship from the side, I think there's also a glitch in the system in the sense that you knew who her other connection was, which is not that's not common, right? That's not standard. So you knew who her other connection was, and you were seeing that person every day in the lounge.
What I do want to say, though, just for the record, when I made that comment about diabetes, at that time, I had no idea that Jordan was dating Megan. So at that time, I was just referencing another guy in the lounge whose son had diabetes, not without poor intentions. But how they did the edit made it seem like I was going at Jordan or his son in this case because I was trying to get a one-up on Megan kind of thing.
Interesting. Sexy Mike. What was that all about, man?
Man, it's funny how big of a deal that was in people's eyes.
Yeah.
The only reason I said that is because when I walked into the pod, Megan introduced herself as Sparkle Megan.
Yeah.
And so here I am trying to think of something funny and be the funny guy when I'm not actually that funny. And so I was just thinking the first S word that came to mind that I could describe myself with, without saying Sparkle Mike, I decided to go with Sexy Mike, and it just stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't go by Sexy Mike. No one in my life, maybe a few ex-girlfriends have said I was Sexy Mike, but that's definitely not my nickname. And it was just kind of a thing on the fly that I said in response to her saying Sparkle Megan.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, so you're in a relationship now, right? And so how was that, as the episodes were coming out, how did your partner handle that as it was airing in real time?
Yeah, man. Man, to say it was tough is definitely an understatement.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot harder than I expected and it had anticipated.
Okay.
And I think the main reason for that is for you and I and everyone on the cast, like this was something that happened a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it was kind of done and over with. And we've kind of detached from it emotionally, at least I feel like I have as far as any of my connections there. But for everyone else, including, the people that we're dating and our family and our friends, this is being aired right now and it's like it happened yesterday. And so seeing it be on Netflix, everyone's talking about it, you can't get away from it. It's on Instagram, TikTok, you can't open your phone without seeing it. It just put it top of mind for everyone, and including my girlfriend. And that was tough because she would open up her phone and see me on a date with someone else, and she would see me expressing my feelings to someone else and saying very intense.
Did you ever get the "you don't say that to me"?
I didn't get that because she actually did not watch the show.
Okay.
Or at least any scenes or any episodes that I was in.
Okay.
And so the only time she saw me was within the clips and reels on Instagram and TikTok. And so not a lot came up, but when it did, she was definitely upset about that. And I understand that. And it's very hard to compartmentalize. And on top of that, she's an empath. So everything she's exposed to, she feels intensely. And that made it much more difficult for our relationship. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer, as you go through something difficult, you're only going to get stronger. And so going through the process, at the end of the day, we'll come out on the other side stronger, and it'll really benefit our relationship and our bond.
Yeah, I think to season 10 out there, when that comes out, I think if you did not get married on the experiment and you have another partner now, I think it will either make your relationship 10 times stronger or your relationship's not going to work. You guys guys are going to break up, because
PSA.
there's only, those are the only two ways that that's going to go. Because for me personally, I have a girlfriend now that she's amazing. She's great. Had her for, been with her for over a year now, and she's been extremely supportive, extremely understanding of the experiment, more than I could have asked for. So that's great, and I think it's made our relationship stronger. But like I said, if it could either do that, or it could, it's just gonna break you guys up.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not easy. And lean on your circle, your friend group. I think a few of the girls that were started to date some of the guys over the past year and a half. They have a group chat called the Girlfriends of Love Is Blind.
Oh, right.
And they're definitely talking shit about us in that group chat. They hate the show. We're always talking about it when we get together, but we really can't talk to anyone else about it. I mean, you can't tell people about it. You can't talk to your friends that weren't there with you. You can't be telling the world about Love Is Blind. So whenever we would all hang out, naturally we're talking about the show, and the girls definitely hated that.
Yeah.
And even with that, there was no real preparation for when it aired. When it aired, it was like we were in no man's land, and you really couldn't predict what was going to happen, how people were going to feel. And again, yeah, it definitely wasn't easy.
Yeah, I think that's 100%. You're spot on with that.
Yeah. What about I think another big factor here is like your family. How did your family, perceive the show? Were they super supportive? Is there anyone in your life that looked down on it? How'd that play out for you?
Yeah, no, my family's been really supportive of it, and I think at first, they were kind of reading into the comments a little too much, and I was like, hey, stay out of that. Like, let keyboard warriors do their thing, right? Like, I don't know anybody that's out in the comments, like, just commenting on random people's stuff all the time, and like, that's not like me who had this conversation on camera, but it's like, dude, fuck the haters, fuck the keyboard warriors, like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So.
Yeah, I think my take on that, and what I tell friends that read comments that are negative, is, think of everyone that you trust and that you respect. Would they actually go on Instagram and comment on say something negative about someone that they don't even know? Like, no one that you want to, associate with is going to be talking shit about a stranger on the internet.
No.
And so it was definitely tough for me not to read the comments at first, because you're so ingrained in the show. At least for me, I really was attached to what other people thought about me.
Yeah.
And once I stopped reading the comments, I felt 10 times better.
Yeah. Like, for me, I don't really care what anybody thinks of me outside of my friends, family members, my loved ones. So it's like, didn't really faze me. I was having fun with it, man. I was making TikToks about it. I was having fun with it. It's like, I don't really care. It doesn't really get to my head. So.
Yeah, you guys did well with it, leaning into it, bringing some humor to the game.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to handle it. Yeah. If you're any of those season 10 guys out there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, it's been great hanging out with you today. Is there anything you have on the pipeline? What's next for you?
Yeah, man. I'm actually really excited about this, but I'll be launching my own brand of liquor here in the next couple of months. Very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. Can't really talk about it too much right now, but I'll be teasing it soon. So you guys stay tuned. Yeah.
So more to come from the Anton Tequila, Anton Spirits.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You'll see.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm stoked for you.
Thanks.
And that should be a really cool business venture to get involved with.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. What's next for you?
Yeah, I think on my side, I'm going to keep pushing into real estate. Again, full-time real estate investor. I'm looking at some deals in Denver, looking at some things in San Diego. I'm going to start doing some ground-up developments in San Diego. And to do some of these larger projects, I'm going to start working with investors. I have worked with investors in the past, but at a very small scale.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking to bring in some partners or investors that want to be hands-off. So I'm looking to bring in some investors that want to be hands-off and passive. So if they have money sitting in the bank and that they don't want to be an active real estate investor and get their hands dirty, they can partner with me on some of these projects.
Hey, so thanks for watching this. Stay tuned. Be sure to follow us on social media at
Mike Brockway on Instagram. That's the main one for me.
Yeah, and then for me, it's Anton Yarosh _. Stay tuned. More to come.
Yeah, and let us know what else you want to hear. We're going to do this again and have some fun with it, and we can talk business, real estate, talk about the show. But yeah, let us know what you liked and what you want to hear more of.